I hope this finds you doing well. This is going to be a brief overview for Module 2 in your textbook, which is going to deal with formatting, which is the appearance of your spreadsheet or of your workbook. So there won't be any new formulas or new functions introduced in this module. It's going to be learning to change the appearance and layout of your workbooks. So here we have a real brief workbook. So we're going to work on changing the appearance of some of these items on here and show you how that can best be done. So in row 3, I've got some labels, and under the price paid label, you'll see that it's $5.50, $101, $95. Obviously, this means money, and so it's a monetary value. And so I want to change these so it looks like currency. And so I'm going to select these cells. And there's a couple different choices I have. Here in the number group, this is the accounting format, which I can use. There's also a currency format, and there's not too much difference between the two. Currency is going to give you 2 decimal places with the dollar sign, but the dollar sign is going to be right next to the number. And so you can see it's right next to the number. This button with the dollar sign is the accounting number. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to give me the same values. It's just going to put the dollar sign to the left of the cell, which I think cleans it up a little bit. So you're going to be using all of these different formats for numbers: general, number, currency, accounting, date, time, percentage, etc. And so that's where you're going to find those. Now you're also going to use 2 buttons in the number group, and one is the increase and the other is the decrease decimal. So if I wanted to increase the number of decimal points here, right now it's at 2. If I wanted to increase the number of places to the right of the decimal point, say to 3, I can click on the increase decimal button, and now it adds another place to the right of the decimal. If I want to decrease the number of decimal places, I can click the decrease decimal button, and it decreases the number that I have. And those are commonly used, and they're very easy to use, and they're just in the number group. So that's our how we're going to format numbers. And we can also format the font. And if you've taken a Word class or you've worked around the computer, you know that we can change the appearance of the font to bold, as this list of labels is. We can italicize it, as this list of labels is. We can underline it, and all that's found in the font group. And in the font arrow up here, we can change the font itself. There's a plethora of fonts here. They're listed alphabetically that you can use. If you click on the font size arrow, we can change the size of the font as well. If we click on the font launcher, we can also do the same thing. Here you see on the font tab, we have the font style, the font size. We can change the color of the font. So you're going to be changing fonts in this module as well. One of the other items that you're going to use is what's called merge and center, and it's used to combine a group of cells. So again, if we look at our little workbook here, you can see the name of our company is Fresh to You, and I want this to stick out a little bit. So I'm going to center it over my spreadsheet, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a technique called merge and center. So I'm going to select A1 all the way over to F1, and then in the alignment group in the home tab, there's a merge and center button. I'm going to click on it, and it actually combines cells A1 through F1 and makes them one cell, and then it puts Fresh to You in the center of that cell. And so we've kind of highlighted it over the spreadsheet. Now, column and height width are also introduced in this chapter. You can see in this column A, that not all of the data is displayed because the cell's not wide enough. And so there's many different ways that we can change the width of the column. If I select column A, I can go over in the cells group, click on the format arrow, and here I can change the column width. I can change the width of it manually by putting in a different number. I can use AutoFit, which is going to make each column wide enough to fit in the data so that all of your data is displayed. Or I can just also do it in the window. I can click in between A and B and then just drag to the right, and it increases the width of the column. Or I can go in between the two columns and I can double click, and that auto fits the column to display the longest entry. So those are the different ways we can change the width. I can do the same with the height. If I wanted to change the height of row 3, I can go to the format arrow and I can go down to row height, and right now it's at 14.4. I could change it to 20 if I wanted to, and it's going to make that row just a little bit taller, if you will. So I'm going to undo that and put it back to its original size. And now we're going to talk about inserting and deleting rows and columns. If I wanted to insert a column in between A and B, you'll notice now it's item, price, paid, and sold by, columns A, B, and C. I can select column B, go to the Insert button in the Cells group, and insert a sheet column. And so it inserts a sheet column to the left of the column that I had selected. The column that I had selected was column B. Now it's column C. Column C is now column D, and so on. So I've inserted a new blank column here if I needed to. So let's undo that. And I can do the same with the row. If I wanted to if I wanted to insert a row above Wholesome Crackers, I can select that row, go to the Insert button in the Cells group, and I can insert a sheet row. And I now have another row inserted above Wholesome Crackers. Now I can delete rows and columns in much the same manner. If I wanted to say we're no longer going to sell sugar, I can select the sugar row, which was row 11. I can go up to delete, and I can delete sheet rows. The row is no longer there, and the rest of our data moved up. So that's how we insert and delete rows. Colors and borders. If I wanted to put a border around my items that I have for sale, I can select all my items. And again, you also have a couple different ways to do it. The first way is just to click on the border button, and I can select any of these, or I can go down here and create a custom border. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put an outside border, and all I need to do is click on the outside border, and now I've got a border that goes around those items. If I select those items and go to more borders, I have the option of changing the style of the line, the color of the line, etc. Many different choices here that I can do with the border. We're just going to leave it as an outline border. Okay. Font colors and filling cells. If I want to highlight fresh to you a little more, I can change the font color. So I select cell A1. This is our font color button. I'm going to go up and make that a different color. So I just click on the font color arrow, and I'm going to change it to kind of an orange so it sticks out. And then to the left of that button, this is the fill button. So I'm going to change the color of the fill. Right now it's just automatic. It's blank. There's no fill there. I'm just going to make it like a light blue. And now that kind of sticks out a little bit. I can also format this by giving it a style that's been predetermined by Excel. So again, with this cell selected, if I go over to the Styles group, I can click on Cell Styles, and then I have all of these different choices I can use. And so I can pick different colors, different combinations, or in this case, I'm going to leave it the same, but I'm going to use the title heading so that I've changed the the look of my title. Now I'm going to have to make one adjustment here. I'm going to need to change the height of that row. So I'm going to make it a little bigger so that we can see the entire title of our company. So that's just a way to change the fill and also to change the font color and the font size. Okay, now just 3 other items here that we're going to do. One is called conditional formatting. Now I'm just going to perform a couple real quick calculations here. The on-hand value is going to be equal to the price paid times the amount we have on hand. And I'm going to go ahead and fill down. Notice I've pre-formatted this as the accounting. Our sale value is going to be equal to the on-hand value times our markup. So again, I'm going to press equals and then the on-hand value times. And for this one, I'm going to use cell H1, but I am going to use an absolute cell reference that you learned in module 1 so that it always uses cell H1. I'm going to hit enter and then fill down. And again, I have pre-formatted this in the accounting style. So 2 last things. One is conditional formatting. I want to find all the items that I have on hand that are less than 15, because when I have less than 15, I need to reorder. So Excel has a tool called conditional formatting. And so in the styles group, there's a conditional formatting button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the highlight cell rules. And in this case, I'm going to go to less than. Now I can do equal to, between, greater than, but because I want to find the ones less than 15, I'm going to click less than. Now the computer puts a default value in there, 16.5. I'm going to change it to 15 because I want values less than 15. I'm going to go with green fill and dark green text. I could choose any of those or create my own custom format, and then I'm going to click OK. And if you look now, all the values that are below 15 have a light green fill with a dark green font color. I can identify real quickly the ones that are below 15. Now we can also use what are called data bars in conditional formatting. These are preset, so I can just pick a gradient fill. I could pick a solid fill, whatever I would like, and it kind of makes the length of the bars according to the value of the cell. I can also use what are called icon sets. And icon sets, again, are in conditional formatting. And we have all of these predetermined icon sets. Now I can pick any of them. And they're displayed here. Now you notice I get the pound symbol here. That's because my cell's not wide enough to display the data, so we know that I can auto-fit it by double clicking in between the 2 cells. And again, you'll notice the green value is the highest, the amber is kind of the middle values, and red are the low values. So those are just icon sets that we can also use. If I want to clear a conditional formatting rule, I can just select the cells, go to the conditional formatting, clear rules from selected cells, and they're done. And now the last thing here is the sheet. Right now we have sheet 1 and sheet 2. I'm going to rename sheet 1. I'm going to name it items, and I'm going to change the color. So I go to tab color, I'm going to make it a light blue. If I want to move that, I can click on it and drag it over, and now it's on the other side of sheet 2. And then the last item here real quick, just like you can in Word, we can spell check. So I'm going to go to the review tab. I'm going to go to ABC spelling, and notice the first word it identifies is cheddar, and cheese was misspelled. It gives me some choices. The first suggestion is chase. That's not what we want. So I'm going to select cheese, and then I'm going to click on change. And my spell check's complete. I'm good to go. And that, my friends, is just a quick overview of Module 2. I wish you good luck.